I don't know what this is called. Again, last time we were clever and we were like artist guide. I guess this is the mythic art. No, that's bad. I don't know. It's Unearthed ARTcana, except it's not Unearthed ARTcana. This is from a book. It's only currently out on D&D Beyond. I believe that's correct. That's probably still be correct by the time this video is up as well, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. But you can get the subclasses. That's the only thing we care about here. Everyone here at Drawing Delvers hates Magic the Gathering. They despise it. They can't stand it, but they like Greek stuff.
I don't play it anymore, but I did play Magic the Gathering for a few years, and it's pretty good. Ferros is a good set. There's some cool stuff there.
The thing is, I couldn't talk to my friends for 2 weeks a couple years ago, and by the time I got my computer fixed, they were all really into Magic the Gathering, and I was not so keen.
It was actually this set that that's when I started playing Magic. Was Ferros, yeah, the Ferros.
To be fair, it seems all Greek mythology inspired stuff. Yeah. Hence Odysseys of obviously calling anything an Odyssey when it's got nothing to do with Odysseus is silly, but it means it's its own word at this point.
It's been its own word for a while.
It's its own word at this point. Anyway, it's fine. We'll be talking about some subclasses that are in this. These are ones that were originally in an Unearthed ARTcana. This is why it's still Unearthed ARTcana, this video.
Sure, yeah, that works.
Are they now Earthed Kana?
Yeah. Oath of Glory, which used to be the Oath of Heroism. And I think for me that was a better name because I understood that they meant heroism in the ancient Greek heroic way, which is of course nothing to do with being good or nice.
Lifting big stuff. It's just about solving riddles.
Yeah, it's about being glorious. But I think that this name is probably technically better because I think a lot of people, especially like with Paladin, I think they've done a good job in 5th of not restricting it with its oath to be having to be good and stuff. And this one, if you look at the actual tenets, is pretty flexible. There may be some people who would think, "Oh, heroism! I don't want to be a good guy. I don't want to be a hero." Anyway, I have gone on the record previously saying that Oath of Heroism was my favorite Paladin. I have been playing Paladin of this for a little while, and so I will be updating him to have these rules because these ones are slightly better. I'm pretty sure than that original one. I'm drawing the guy I've been playing, who has weird stats because I like to roll my stats randomly and take them in order. And I think I even decided before making this character that I was going to play a Paladin no matter what stats I rolled. I did get good charisma, so I'm okay. But he was a high dex, high charisma Paladin. And he's got like 9 strength and 8 constitution, which was pretty horrific. Obviously, just put all those ability score increases in con, try to get any health. This class, especially now, really works for like a fast Paladin as opposed to like a big heavy armor one, and we can go into why later, but especially just because like it is obviously playing off the ancient Greek heroic stuff, and they weren't wearing heavy armor for the most part. A big shield, probably maybe a breastplate, but not famed for plate.
Yeah, no, there's a bit of a lack of metal working, wasn't there?
Exactly. So yeah, I'll say the oath, what the oath is, and then maybe one of you can take over to talk about the other things, and we'll chip in. The important thing of Paladin is your oath. You get this at not at first level, but level 1 to 2, you're obviously just training to be like a cool fighter with a bit of something extra, and then you take an oath, and that's when things get really exciting. The tenets of the Oath of Glory. Yes. Actions over words is the first one. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. Then challenges are but tests. Yep, fair. Yeah, sure, okay. I guess that I don't really know how. Well, I'll read that too. Hone the body is the third one. Okay, sure. And then the final one, that makes sense. Then the final one is discipline the soul. This is the only one that's a bit like, what does that mean?
Assuage temptation.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, it's overcome the failings within yourself is what it says. These are some very cool tenets, obviously very fitting. I have a feeling that this is not going to be... This is never going to cause difficulty in like the average D&D. There's never going to be a bit where you're like, oh man, I don't want to act. My oath is coming between what I think I should do and what my oath is telling me to do. This isn't like, Oath of the Crown, where it's like loyalty and maybe who you're loyal to, maybe that's going to be it. No, this is just, I do stuff, and it's cool. I can do what I want, and as long as it's glorious. And I guess maybe if you're playing in a setting or in a campaign where maybe death's a little bit more you have to be a bit more careful, and your DM, puts traps out, and if you do stupid things, they will punish you. Maybe in that sort of situation, this kind of oath will get you into trouble, because, this is the I'm never gonna back down, I'm never gonna turn away from the chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
And also probably not very conducive with subterfuge.
Exactly. No sneaky on this guy. And teamwork. Teamwork's not a focus of any of them, and nor should it necessarily be. But there might be a few times where you're like, I'm just gonna hit the guy, and then the rest of your party's like, oh, please don't. I get that very much depends on the party dynamic. This is a nice, easy oath to follow. Hone the body's a weird one. Like, how are you... Like, I know, how are you either supposed to fail or do that, like, within D&D?
Obviously, you just declare in your downtime you're just doing push-ups constantly.
Yeah, I suppose. I guess...
Yeah, I know what you mean, those.
Maybe if you, in your campaign, you do have, like, a couple of years of downtime, maybe, then you would be like, well, okay, I'm going to make sure I'm not going to be a rich guy lying around in my cool house. I'm going to be working, I'm going to be doing stuff, I suppose. Yeah.
Kind of like a monk in many ways.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it is very martial, but in like an individual way as well. But yeah, it's a cool oath. I think it'd be very fun to role play, especially for someone like me who does like to do. I do like to face impossible odds and potentially die, and I think that this is a character reason to do that, not just because you might just roll good.
Heard Theo literally say, "Kill my character."
Go on, kill me if you can.
At the DM.
Anyway, you just want to die heroically sometimes. Okay, that's the oath.
So the domain spells you get is pretty good, actually, pretty good mix.
Yeah.
Some things that I think aren't in their spell list, but some things that kind of are. So it's a cool kind of mix. At level 3, these are first level spells because of Paladin's a half caster, obviously.
Yeah.
So you'll get Guiding Bolt and Heroism. Guiding Bolt's great.
Yeah. Guiding Bolt I don't think is usually in the Paladin spell list, and it's a good spell, so yeah.
Like 4d6 and advantage on the next strike. You can say that like a target a guy and encourage an ally. It's pretty great. Heroism's great. That's
temporary hit points.
It's temporary hit points. Yeah. It's like a regenerating temporary hit point thing.
Yeah, it's good.
It's pretty cool.
Enhanceability for your amazing feats of strength, but also to maybe encourage your allies to do better things.
Yeah.
Magic weapon, obviously great. 9th, love haste for this guy.
Haste is really cool. I can't remember if that's actually in the original version of this class. I'm not entirely sure, but it definitely fits the current version of this very well. And also, haste is an incredible spell.
It is great, isn't it?
Haste is great. It also gives you a super mode.
Yes, you have your Superman mode as well, yeah.
Protection from energy. Yeah, that's alright. It gets the job done. By 9th level, I mean, wizards have been able to cast it a while.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, it might come up, and you'll always have it is the other thing, like... It's not one that you're like going to be thinking, maybe
I don't
want to prepare it. Yeah. By always having it, you're more likely to actually have a situation where you'll use it.
And then there's Compulsion and Freedom of Movement. Compulsion's an interesting spell I've always wanted to find a good use for, but never really been able to.
What does that one do? I don't recognise that one.
Creatures of your choice that you can see within range of you that can hear you must make a Wisdom saving throw. Until the spell ends, you can use as a bonus action your returns to designate a direction that is... horizontal to you. Each affected creature must use as much of its movement as possible to move in that direction.
Okay.
On its next turn.
So I guess it's kind of commanding the battlefield kind of a thing.
Yeah, so you can get them to reaction move around, which I mean technically you could get a bunch of enemies and say they could only come to you.
Yeah.
But it's
or make them.
Everyone starts moving like crabs. Yeah, and it's kind of a bit weird.
Yeah. No, that's fair though.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. And freedom of movement
is good spell.
Finally, at 17th level, you get your 5th level, which is Commune, which is kind of very Greek, Commune.
Sure.
And Flame Strike, which is just, do a big fire blast with fire and radiant, I believe.
Okay, cool. That sounds familiar, yeah. I think it's a cleric one, usually. There's not a lot of, damagey spells in there, so I guess nice to have one. Yeah,
4d6 fire, 4d6 radiant, 40-foot cone.
Okay.
Interesting.
An AoE source, I guess, is what that is for your Paladin, which you might not have otherwise.
Yeah, but you get it 17th level.
I mean, yeah, right. It's true.
And yeah, that's basically the domain spells. I think that they're an interesting batch of them. I honestly 50-50. Some of them are great, Enhanceability, Haste,
yeah,
Guiding Bolt and Heroism. They're all muy bene.
I think especially Guiding Bolt, because this class goes in later to having a lot of like, and Paladin in general has a lot of supporting ally stuff. So having things like enhanced ability to like help your ally, to like kind of almost inspire, you could RP it as your allies, and same with heroism, of course. But
I want stuff like long stride and leap.
That would be cool.
More movement.
Yeah, that'd be actually very cool. Although they have a jumping thing. So do you want to talk about the channel divinities?
Yeah. So obviously you have two options you can take. The first one is Peerless Athlete. It's a bonus action, and for the next 10 minutes you have an advantage on strength, athletics, and dexterity acrobatics checks. You can also carry, push, drag, lift twice the amount as normal, and your jumps are increased by 10 feet, including high jumps.
Yeah, including high jump,
which is
10 feet straight up.
10 feet, 10 feet straight jump up is
That's pretty
cool.
crazy. And I think that has changed very slightly from the original Unearthed Arcana version. I think the jump distance stuff increasing. I think that's new. If not, that's still cool, and there's going to be uses every now and again for that.
Yeah,
for sure.
which is, I mean, it definitely plays really into what this class is at the moment.
Yeah.
Looks like.
And athletics, of course, is for grappling and an advantage on those.
Yes.
Very, very Greek.
Really useful.
Wrestling.
I love it.
The second channel divinity is Inspiring Smite, which you can apply after you deal damage to a creature with your Divine Smite feature.
Yeah.
You use your bonus action to channel divinity and distribute temporary hit points to creatures of your choice in 30 feet of you, which you can include yourself, and they regain hit points equal to 2d8 plus your Paladin level, divided among the chosen creatures, however you like.
Yeah.
This looks pretty cool, especially if you crit and then you do your big
smite. Yeah.
And then you also heal. It's a very turning the tide of the fight
100%.
kind of turn. It'd be very cool, and being able to split it as you like as well. Yeah,
definitely.
I think that's really good.
No, Sam, Turn the Tide's the one that you have.
Turn the tide.
I know. As soon as I said that, I was like, that's the ability that I have.
the version of this in the original subclass is that you use a channel divinity and then you crit on a 19, which is obviously It's one of those things where I've been playing this for a while. Had the channel divinity since first level. I've used it once because I've been like, I guess maybe. It's such a that wasn't fun. This is much more fun, and also probably a lot better as well. Just in general,
it's a lot more active.
Exactly. Yeah. You're doing a little bit more.
We talked about a bit in the classes we like in these a bit. It's something you get to choose to do.
Yeah.
I do think that critting on lower numbers though can be very good, but I think you have to make your character for it.
That's the thing.
Two weapon fighting, and while hasted.
Yeah.
You're gonna do some fun stuff, but that's a off topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I like about design of Paladin, because this comes up here, is that I love that you get two of them and they reset on short rest. So it's like
you're gonna use it a lot.
It's a really nice supplement to your slightly somewhat limited.
Paladin does everything. Paladin just does everything.
Yeah. It's a very fun class, I will say that straight up. Bonus to jumping and stuff, especially depending on how your DM makes their maps. If there's a lot of chasms, just being able to leap across things with no problem, probably that can have uses. And being able to jump potentially 20 feet straight up is pretty good. Climbing can be annoying. And again, I think it's probably mostly good for the advantage on strength and dexterity, which is going to be so good for getting out of and getting people into grapples.
And you'll be surprised what maybe out of combat use you will get from it with, for instance. I would certainly, even though there's nothing in there that explicitly gives you move speed, I would say stuff like, okay, you're in a city streets chase, right? If the Paladin says, I use my channel divinity, Peerless Athlete, it's why wouldn't this make you really good at running?
Just perfect endurance, never get tired kind of thing.
Yeah, you don't tire out or anything, so you wouldn't make them do endurance checks or anything.
Yeah.
And something that I like about this, again, has been playing a very weak Paladin, physically weak Paladin, having something that doubles your carrying and dragging. Because a big part of the class, the Oath, is about trying to present yourself, and heroism of this nature is presenting a perfect facade in a way, but not showing weakness and being a hero, as it were. So being able to be look at this frail guy, but then being able to pick up look, he can even pick up this rock, would be very. Sorry, would be very. It's cool and very mythic. potentially. Which is why, again, like I almost started going on about how I really like rolling random stats. Almost. We're not going to get into that.
Almost did. I hate rolling random stats.
Rain you
You
in.
hate rolling random stats. I'm so sorry. No. Okay, so you get a bunch of Paladin stuff between now and the next time you level up in this class. I believe by it's 6th you get your aura. I think. Was it
7th is
7th.
But you have
that's what you
Paladins
get.
have 2 auras.
You get your generic aura, which just is, you get your charisma 2 saves, and then you get your own unique flavor of your aura, which is really cool. So at 7th level, your order of it's this word.
Alacrity.
Alacrity. I believe that certainly seems correct. I love this ability. It's pretty cool. Anyone who starts their turn next to you gets 10 foot more movement speed, and you yourself always have 10 foot more movement speed. So you just get faster. And anyone running with you is faster too.
Love it.
Very cool.
So good.
When you get to 18th level, the aura increases in size. I think that's the same for like every paladin, right?
Yeah. They all get bigger.
Yeah.
So hopefully you're not playing as a wood elf or whatever it is that gets another 5 foot movement. So otherwise, if you're playing as a guy with 30 foot movement, everyone's going to be keeping up with you. If everyone's got 30 foot running in, it's much got that running into battle kind of feeling. And there's so many like ancient myths about like the marathon, of course, the original marathon running guy who ran himself to death delivering messages. It's very cool, and movement is so good. You don't realise how good movement is until you don't have enough.
You see, you have 20 foot movement.
Or you see a class that has, like, in your campaign, that has, like, 15 foot more movement, and you're like, oh, okay, you can do that now.
Yeah.
Now, Speed Dwarf. 35 foot dwarf.
Yeah, the 35 foot speed dwarf. And then when you're next to him, you're slightly faster than, but you're like, I'll still end my turn next to him. So yeah, very cool. Charging in.
We're great sprinters.
We dwarfs are natural sprinters. Yeah, I really like this aura. I've been playing in the campaign with a mount recently, and the speed you get from a mount is great. And this is like a nice little boost, and I think it's
technically your mount would be within 5 feet of you.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Of an ally, yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, sick. That's 10 foot more on your horse, and of course, Paladin
you have
gets
like Fine Steed. And stuff.
Oh, Fine Steed! I love Fine Steed. One of my favorite spells.
Steed.
Paladin having their aura is very. It has that rally around the Paladin kind of a thing.
Yeah.
That everyone gets the Paladin charging, and if you're at like really high level, especially when you get to like some of the things that go on with the 15th level thing and higher. If you have a bunch of like followers, if you have like maybe if you get the deck of many things and get like that 4th level fighter or whatever it is that you get, and then having a block of essentially like hoplites or hoplite, I'm not sure which is more accurate, leading the defense, buffing people around you is what paladins do, and you're like inspiring people with your heroism to get into the fight quicker. Anyway,
the only thing is 5 feet is small.
5 feet is very small.
That's a different size to your other aura, so it's it's a little extra thing in people's heads to remember.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, aura's just so good on Paladin. I have Oathbreaker in my game, and it's an undead campaign. So his oath that boosts undead powers, undead bonus to attack. And they've got a necromancer, so it's crazy stuff.
No one's ever rolling without like a +12, I assume, to like every save. Yeah. Someone tell me about the glorious defense.
Okay, well, you can turn defense into a sudden strike.
Ooh, at 15th level.
Yeah, 15th level. You can use your action to grant a bonus to target's AC, and that bonus is your charisma modifier. And if the attack misses, you can attack the target as part of this reaction. So it's basically like shield protection fighting style. But a bit better, where like you instead of just like disadvantage on their stuff, you give them bonus AC, and then if it does miss, it's like you intercede, bam, slap it away and attack.
Yeah.
I quite like it. It's cool. There's some flavour there. Again, you also don't require a shield as well. So if it's if you don't have a shield, because again, protection's really good, but you really need a shield.
And again, it's also within 10 feet of you, which is kind of interesting as well. It's not
that
just
true.
Next to you, so that actually makes that pretty. Because I use the protection fighting style, and like it's a really cool thing. But like especially depending on how many people are in your party, like, there's not a lot of times necessarily that you are actually within 5 feet, unless you're really, like, trying to get a lot of use out of it, which you should be doing. But yeah, it is, 10 feet around a thing is a lot of area that you're covering.
Oh, yeah. If you've got reach, then you can be doing the attack component, because of it. You can only do the attack component if they're within your weapon's reach.
Yeah, I guess this is if you're standing on the opposite side of the same guy, perhaps, as well.
Yeah, technically you could do that, yeah. You could have two NPCs, 2 ranks of level 15 Glory Paladins would be terrifying.
Just 2
Because they'd all be moving 10 foot faster as well.
Oh, it's true. Monsters. You can use this feature equal to your charisma modifier. And we've been talking recently about the Unearthed ARTcana that came out, where they've been using the proficiency bonus as the resource. Again, when you're like a 15th level paladin, you probably have 18 or 20 charisma. But again, if you did roll stats randomly, you might not have the ideal stats. So I don't know. I don't think it's a big problem. But recently they've been approaching that differently. So
you'll feel it at low, but not at high.
That's the thing.
Like,
yeah.
You'll be like, oh man, I only have 12 charisma or 13, and the other guy's got these proficiency-based skills, and he doesn't care. He's got an 8 in charisma.
Yeah, he's got loads of this. It's coming out as is. But yeah, I really like this ability. Again, going back to that idea of having like a little block of fighters. Or like I remember in 4th edition, there was that feat that was whenever you're standing next to someone else with that feat, I think it was, you both got AC bonus.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
So you could make like a shield wall essentially, and that was
I had that
really
on
cool.
my warlord.
I think I had it as well. I seem to remember.
Good ability.
It was really cool. And you could definitely do something like that with this, block, stand in a little block and sort of punch through things and defending each other. And especially if you have like a fighter in there with the protection fighting style as well. Very cool. And of course, Paladin gets a fighting style, so they can have that fighting style. On top of that, very thematic with the rest of it. I guess, Mr. Smith, can you, the living legend, tell us about the 20th level feature, living legend?
Yes.
Bring the legend back to life.
So once you've reached the maximum level achievable in D&D,
Peak.
you gain the following benefits. So, you empower yourself with the legends, whether true or exaggerated, of your great deeds. So with a bonus action, you can, for the next minute, you gain the following things. So you're blessed with advantage on all charisma checks.
Nice.
Once on each of your turns, when you make a weapon attack and miss, you can make that just hit instead.
And you only get 2 attacks, I think, as Paladin, right? You never get multi-attack more than 2, I believe. Maybe one of them does, but...
Yeah, I think you're right.
that's true.
And then if you fail a saving throw, you can use your action to re-roll it, and you have to use the new roll. Once you've done this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, or you could expend a 5th level spell slot to use it again, which at 20th you have...
2.
Not maybe 3.
A couple of those.
Is it only 2?
2.
This is the thing
It's
with
not.
Paladin. These level 20 abilities, they're on paper they're always cool, but you're 20th level, so they're lame. They're always like, gain a super mode where you gain resistance to all bludgeoning damage. It's like,
Yeah, I think this one might be one of the weaker ones, because, again, it's charisma checks, not saves. So you can't even be stopping a mind flayer from sucking your like, stunning you or whatever. This is just for persuading guys or intimidating people or whatever, which is good, but it's just advantage.
There's easy ways to get advantage. I mean, you have the spell enhance ability.
Exactly, and exactly. Oh my god, you're right. That's true. That's so true. And also, you're probably going to have like a plus like 12 or 14 or something to persuasion at this point. So it's just like, okay, fine.
it does ensure you get that hit you need.
That's the thing. I like that ability. You just hit. Like, that is cool. It that feels appropriate for like a 20th level thing for Paladin. That feels right. So maybe that's enough. And again, like, fail a saving throw, use a reaction to re-roll it. You got to use the new roll. I don't really see the point of saying you must use the new roll, because like there's no crit failing or crit success for saving throws.
Yeah,
so it's not
that
like
doesn't need to be there, does it? Really?
It should just say like you have advantage on or you have advantage on a saving throw. I guess if you fail it, then you can roll again. I guess it's just the wording of other things there.
Let's compare that to the one we really liked, the Watchers, right? Which is why we're here.
Yeah.
Watcher gains true sight 120 feet. Has advantage on attack rolls against
good.
elemental fey fiends and aberrations. And when they hit a creature, they can banish it.
That's so much stronger now that you mentioned that. Actually, that's ridiculous. I know that a couple of them are not. They're not all
No,
good.
that one's a good one. That's one we really liked.
That's a very strong one. Just the true sight is great. Just because, invisible things. There's never like a point where things being invisible is like completely nothing. Like it's still annoying for things to be invisible at high level. And True Sight helps with ethereal plane stuff as well.
Yeah.
The ethereal plane's a real pain in the arse.
But yeah, the cool thing that is about this one though, if it is a bit weaker, it's the only one so far that you can refresh with a resource.
Now that is true.
Yeah.
You can get this one more than once per long rest.
Which I feel it feels right for this kind of class because again, this is kind of drawing from Greek mythology stuff, essentially. So I guess that is a cool thing, like being able to refresh it, and you're just you're not stopping, you're not resting, you're not trying to get you're always you're living legend right up to the moment you're out of 5th level spell slots and you die.
I would love it to copy the chronology thing, like where it's like. It's like living legend, like you can do this, but every time you do it, you gain a point of exhaustion.
Yeah. Especially what they've done with some of the really cool things about the eloquence, which we'll go into when we go into it. But like we were talking about this a while ago. The idea of things that like at 20th level, having things that you can only use once or do have permanent downsides because you're 20th level. This is not a character that you're gonna, at some point they're presumed you're gonna stop playing this character, and when you hit 20th level, it's presumably somewhere on the horizon. You don't have, years and years more of playing a 20th level character. Obviously you might do.
You can do, nothing to stop you.
Highly unlikely though.
Having something that can completely change, not just like a fight, but the actual campaign, like the story, being a 20th level thing, I think would be really cool, especially for something like Paladin, which is meant to be like this epic, especially this Paladin, which is meant to be this big, epic, like heroic thing. There's nothing explicitly wrong with this ability, it's just not, it's not exciting.
We want like crits for exhaustion or something, that's what we want. We want the big hero like moment.
And who even gets to 20th level anyway?
Yeah, I mean,
it never even happens, so it's fine.
It doesn't even exist.
The rest of this class I think is very cool, and I really enjoy it. I like the original just mainly because of like the flavour. There's a lot of Paladin oaths. A lot of them are cool, but most of them didn't really... I never really wanted to play Paladin that much until the old version of this oath came out, and then I will be playing with this new version. So I do like it quite a lot. And this is what I drew, by the way. Or rather, this is what I tried desperately to digital paint. I don't like digital painting. I didn't record it because it's too stressful to not only try and do something that I don't do very much, but then also try and record it and then have it played. No, none of that. So it's just going to like fade into it from the sketch.
I like the colours a lot of his armour. That's the kind of tiefling I want to play.
It's really cool.
Thank you. It was a lot. The bard will be more traditional, my drawing of just lines. But I wanted to try something mildly different.
I mean, I think he did it. I think he looks really awesome.
And spoilers alert, we are a bit of a Greekophiles.
Yeah, good old. I like a Greek myth.
It's all far enough in the past now. You ain't got to worry about any of the troubling stuff. You can just enjoy it.
You just like it. Yeah, exactly. It's barely even history, most of it, because most of it's really made up.
Yeah, it's really not true. So
some of it is guilt-free. Some of it's definitely.
It's just nuts.
And some of it's definitely about like genocides of like definitely real people and stuff, which is bad.
Yeah, don't sweat it though. It's alright.
But don't worry about it. It was so long ago, and we don't even really know which bits are true. So don't worry. Just think about Hercules. Wasn't he cool? Or sorry, Heracles.
Yeah, you goddamn Roman.
You Roman.
Think about Danny DeVito as well.
Just think about Danny DeVito as a satyr.
Yeah.
Of course, you can now make Danny DeVito in D&D because there's satyr. That'll be the next video. How to make Danny DeVito.
I want to be a cheater man.
How to play as Danny DeVito. I think the video is ending. Again, we'll be back with College of Eloquence, which, spoilers, I really like. I really liked it before. I really like it now.
I played it before, so I was reading through this, I was like, okay. I
think technically this Paladin has been changed more, but...
There's been some big reshuffles in Eloquence.
That's the thing, Eloquence has been moved around a lot, so I think it really changes the way the way it plays, for sure. Anyway, so yeah, cheers! Why don't you subscribe and all that? We don't say that at the end of these videos. Do what you want. I don't care if you subscribe.
I'm not your mum.